All right. Now we have used our semantics to create our shape. So now you know how to use semantics to create a shape. Maybe you want to create a shape like this about this design. You want to design a shape like this about. You know how to use it. You use your height and your width to design a shape like this. So now we are moving on to introduction of forms. How to use a form to create input logins and then buttons. So before we start, let's go to our code and then let's use a form. So let's clean this code. Let's clean this code. After that, we are coming to use a form to create a simple login. So first, let's write our first code, which is form. So just type in form. After that, select the first one. When you select the first one, you will see something like this. After creating the form, you will see the code like this. So we are about to design the input inside the form. So before we start, just place your mouse cursor here. Place your mouse cursor here and then open your form. So you will see something like this. So you will do the work inside the form. You do the work inside the form. And I know that most of you have visited many of the websites, especially the Facebook. When you want to create your Facebook, they will ask you to log in. So they will ask you to enter your name, password, and the email. So we are about to design that thing, the simple one. So this is for the beginners. So before we start, we have some code that we are going to use. And we call that code input. We call that code input. So inside the form, let's type in input. So you will see something like this. Select the first input. So after selecting the first input, you will see something like this. You will see input, type, then you will see test. So let's run it and see. So when you run it, you will see something like this. You will see something like, we have our first input. Have you seen? So you can type in the test. So you will see something like this, input. You will see something like this, input. You will see something like this, input. So now let's come to our code. So we use this code, this input code, to write that thing. And we have so many type of test. So let's say this one is input. We are using this one to collect a name. So let's say you want to collect a password or number. How are we going to do it? So this input here, we have type. So you just come to type. When you want to receive a person's name, it's test. We use test, that is alphabet from A to Z. So the input type, so here the input type will be test. The input type will be test. So let's say you want to receive the password. You type in password, then you select a password. You type in password, then you select a password. Now let's run it and see. After running it, you will see the same thing. But when you start typing in, you will see it as something like password. So for now, it has changed from the input type to password type. That's good. So when we come here, now this is how you can use to write for the password. So let's say you want to write for email. You just type in email, it will show up, then select the email. After that, let's run our code. So after running the code, you will see the same thing. You will see the same thing. So email and the text, the email and the text, it look the same, but as we move on, you will see the difference. So we use the input to write something like this. We use the input to write something like this. So first, let's create our first login form. So you will do it inside the form. You will do it inside the form. So now let's create a box like this, a box that is look at about page. We create a form like this, about box. So let's create a form like this, about form design. So let's come here, and then first we have to create our CSS. So just type in style, so that you will see something like this. Let's open it. Now when you look at this design, we have width here, width, and we have height here. So we have width here and we have height here. So now let's come to our code, and then what one are we talking about is form. So just type in form. After that, open your curly bracket. Open your curly bracket. So let's select our width. So the width, let's do it 30%. Let's do it 30%, and then select our height. So let's select our height. So the height, let's do it 40 VH. Let's do it 40 VH. 40 VH. So this VH means view point height. This VH means view point height. After that, let's select our background and then give it to a background color. So let's use blue. Let's use blue. Now we have set our form. Let's run it and see how our form will look like. So let's run it. And see how our form will look like. This is how we will see our form. So now we have created our form. So now let's create a simple login. So the login that we are about to create, we need name, email and password. After that, login button. You need name, email and password. After that, login button. So first, let's create input box first. Okay, let's add a name and then name it login. So when you want to add a name, I have shown you that you can use heading from H1 up to H6, or you can use P, or you can use palm. So here let's use H1. And then this is the title. So let's write in login form. So let's write in login form. Now let's run our code and see. Login form. Let's run our code and see. So you see we have login form here. We have login form. That is the title. We have login form. So now let's come to our code and then type in input. So we are typing input. Now let's run it and see. You can see that we have our first input box here. This is the beginning. So I want you to get the basics, the fundamentals. So we have our first input here. Good. You create 3 input boxes. So this one is for the name. Let's create another input again. And after that, this one, we use this one for the email. So let's write here email. And let's create last one, input. And then let's choose password. Let's choose password. After that, let's run it and see. Let's run it and see. After running it, you can see that we have 3. We have 3 input boxes. We have first one, second one, and the last one. So we have these 3 input boxes. So this one will stand for the name, and this one will stand for the email, and this one will stand for the password. So we have 3 input boxes. Now let's create our button. We will use the button for the login. So just come down, and then type in button. So you will see something like this. Select the first one and then type in login here. Type in login here. So write the button like this and then type in login here. After that, let's run our code and see. Let's run our code and see. So after running our code, you will see we have something like this. Yeah, we have something like this. So we have our button here. We have login button like this. We have our button here, login button. So let's say you want this button to come down. You want this button to come down. We have so many ways to do it. We have so many ways to do it. I will show you that, but first let me show you the simple one. Just place your mouse cursor here. Place your mouse cursor here, and then press enter. After that, type in BR, and then click on the first BR. This one means break. So you want to break the line between the password and the login button here. So now let's run it and see. So after running the code, you will see that our button is down here. So we have created our simple login form. So this one you use it for the maybe full name, and this one email, and this one for the password. So now we have created a simple login form. This is a simple login form for the beginners. It is a simple login form. So before we start, I said you need your form. You have to create your form. After creating your form, then you add your title here. So the title is login form, and then use your input. So this text stands for maybe the person's name. This text stands for maybe the person's name, and this text stands for maybe email, and this text last stands for the password. And then create your button like this. Create your button and then type in login. After that, run your code. But before you start, make sure that you create your form. So you come to the CSS and then create form. Weight 30%, height 40%, then background, then you write blue. After that, just run your code. Just run your code. After that, just run your code. So after writing your code, you will see your simple login. You see your simple login here. Your simple login here. So please try your hand on it and send me your work. Thank you.